should remember that these are pianos. Yeah, welcome to the Lazy Money Machine. On the other side is Graham Brown. My name is Erik ten Have. And we have our nice little music going again, but we try not to play it too long because we know that people don't want to listen to the music, they want to listen to the content. So,
well, I've got to put my drumsticks down.
Yeah, okay. Well, actually learning the drum, did I tell you that or not?
Yeah, no, go on.
So, yeah, no, I mean, it's been very interesting. It's been one of these things that after my overseas trip last year, I came back and realized that really one of my unfulfilled passions is that I want to do something with music. And I have tried to learn guitar, but then I thought, okay, what can I do that basically gets me into music and really can get my energy out? And then I thought, I just need to go and play the drums. And then right at that same moment, a friend of mine had an old drum kit for sale. So I basically bought it from him. So I have this real drum kit, big drum kit in my house now. And it's therapy, I can tell you. It's fantastic.
Well, what do your neighbors think? Is it loud enough to...
Well, the good thing is...
Other than the neighbors?
It's pretty loud, especially... Yeah, it is loud because also I play the music with it, so I have the speakers on and everything. But my house pretty well isolated, and I insulated, and I basically close all the doors. And yeah, I mean, I don't really care, to be honest. So anyway, playing the drums, it's good. I mean, it's real therapy, and sometimes I even do it without switching the air conditioning on, so then it's really hot, so then I'm sweating like mad. And like today, my teacher brought me AC/DC to practice, so I can really, really rock out. Oh, so it's good. It's good. It's good.
Beast mode.
Beast mode on, yeah. Today, audio clips. This one, everybody will know who this guy is, but let's listen first.
In a world that's changing so quickly, the biggest risk you can take is not taking any risk. And I really think that that's true, right? I mean, a lot of people, I think that... whenever it comes to, whenever you get yourself into a position where you have to make some big shift in direction or do something, there are always people are going to point to the downside risks of that decision. And locally, they're maybe right? I mean, for any given decision that you're going to make, there's upside and downside. But in aggregate, if you are stagnant and you don't make those changes, then I think you're guaranteed to fail, right? And not catch up. So to some degree, I think it's really right that over time, the biggest risk that you can take is to not take any risks.
Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg.
Had to be. Founder of
Facebook. Super successful, obviously. And
he's I mean, he doesn't talk about it a lot these days, but when they were getting big, he started talking about the hacker way, which was like one of the first times that got out. And this was kind of what he's talking about. Done is better than perfect. Got to take risks, etc.
Yeah, there's another part of it. Let's listen to that too.
Ideas don't come out fully formed. They only become clear as you work on them. You just have to get started. If I had to know everything about connecting people before I got started, I never would have built Facebook. Movies and pop culture just get this all wrong. The idea of a single eureka moment is a dangerous lie. It makes us feel inadequate because we feel like we haven't had ours yet. And it prevents people with seeds of good ideas from ever getting started in the first place.
Just get started.
Yeah. Well, isn't his point that the idea itself isn't as important as the ability to get started?
Oh, yeah. So true. I think we've spoken about this in an earlier episode, I think. But it's so true, yeah. I mean, don't overthink too much. Don't be too much in your head, be in your hands or be in your body and do stuff, right? It always is the case that getting started working on something and taking some risks will get you a lot further than overthinking and playing it safe, I think.
Yeah, we wait. The tendency is to wait for the perfect moment to strike, isn't it?
Yeah.
The perfect conditions. And I think, if you look at his history, well, if it was all about ideas, we'd all be on MySpace now, right?
Right.
Whatever happened to that?
Yeah.
But isn't that sort of, it just goes to show having the idea is worthless, right? Because if it was all about having the idea, MySpace would have won.
Yes. But I think, why didn't they? I think because the guys that are full on in execution mode, like in this case Facebook, and they were growing very quick and they were adapting. Yeah, that's also very important. A lot of these tech companies, they don't die because they don't grow. They die because they adapt and somebody else is overtaking them in a different way. I listened to this interview of Johnny Oostveen on your Asia Tech podcast. It's actually interesting. I know the guy. He's a KPN guy, so I know him, and I know him from his EBuddy.
I wondered if you did, you're right. Because he's Southeast Asia and KPN, so there's a big connection there with you.
Yeah, for everybody listening to this, go and check out Asia Tech podcast. Graham has a
thanks for the plug.
Has a fantastic podcast there, interviewing all sorts of tech startups. And founders and VCs and things like that. Super interesting. But this Johnny Oostveen, he was working for EBuddy. And I remember very well, EBuddy was an MSN Messenger client.
Yes, that's right.
They were famous because MSN did not have a proper client for the phone, and they had. Yeah. And it became a multi-chat client. So you could do Yahoo on it, you could do MSN on it. It was super popular. But they basically lost out because WhatsApp just walked over them. They didn't care about the existing chat networks. They built a new one, but they caught on so quickly because the if I remember it correctly, the key to WhatsApp was you could log in with your phone number, and that was the key. Right. You don't need an online account. And here in Asia, a lot of people don't have email. They don't have access to those kind of things, and they just walked over them. And because they were so good at execution and they were realizing they were adapting to basically what the market needed, they basically, walked EBuddy out of business. And it's sort of, related to Zuckerberg, right? Get started, take some risk. But I think the reason why Facebook really won is because they were adaptable, right? They were quick in adapting, trying, moving. You can't sit still as a big company because it's the start of your decline.
Yeah, I mean, what this means to us, especially if you look at building property, we've said this in another show, but to repeat the point is that your first deal will never be your best. Even if you can break even on your first deal, that's great.
Yeah,
because it's all a learning curve, right? You think of the first deal as your MBA or your degree in property. You'll learn so much, even if you lose money on it, as long as it doesn't, take you out of business. But don't wait for that perfect property purchase to get going. Just buy anything that ain't going to lose you money just to get in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree. There was another part to Zuckerberg, which is also interesting, and that talks a bit about his mindset. Let's see if I can get that here.
It's really good to be idealistic.
Wow.
But be prepared to be misunderstood. Anyone working on a big vision is going to get called crazy, even if you end up right. Anyone taking on a complex problem is going to get blamed for not fully understanding it, even though it's impossible to know everything up front. Anyone taking initiative will always get criticized for moving too fast because there's always someone who wants to slow you down.
Yeah, this was one of his commencement speeches again, I think, talking to young people. But yeah, looking at people that want to slow you down, that's also a big factor, I think, that you need to take into account. Yeah, so it's quite some advice that he says here, right? So it's hard to put that all together. Get your butt moving and get started. Take some risks. Be willing to get some criticism from other people. But it is the success formula for finding out new life, basically, a new way to live your life and or make your money. Or these three factors are like the secret sauce of Zuckerberg, I think.
And you don't need to be a Harvard dropout to do this, right? Just you need to surround yourself with good people. I mean, that's what he got from Harvard, was surrounding himself with people who thought like that as well.
Yes.
And I think that's key, isn't it, here, that whether it's taking risks or getting started, you really feel that when you're surrounded by people of action, you want to do stuff as well, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to the opposite. I mean, we've all been surrounded by people who sort of, you don't want to do that. Or, I'm not sure about that. Or that's going to fail. that's a disease, isn't it? That you can easily be infected by, and you've got to extricate yourself from those people and find a good group of people to hang around with.
It's so true. I mean, when you're saying this, I mean, this is always the key to my mental health, I think. It sounds a bit heavy. I'm not depressed or suicidal, but my mental health is very depending on whether or not I'm around people of action, whether I'm around and with people and working with people that are just executing instead of overthinking or procrastinating, because I think it's sort of my weak side. It's sort of my weakness. So if I have these people around me that are like, okay, let's get this thing going and let's do it, I thrive very well with that, and I feel much happier usually if I'm around these kind of people, included, by the way. So,
yeah, I think that's what it's about. It's really important. Surround yourself with those. I mean, if Mark Zuckerberg was one of your buddies, that would rub off on you, right? So you can imagine who he hangs around with. And I've got a friend, who is in property, and I remember when he started out, he was saying like, okay, I don't have any money, I don't have much education. He had a degree, but nothing that was worth anything in property, right? But he said, I'm going to build this thing and I'm going to buy 25 houses. Mm-hmm. And he actually went out and bought 25 houses in less than a year.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, fuck, excuse my language. Fuck me. It's totally possible, because I was thinking at the time, I might buy 1 or 2 this year, and he was out buying 25.
Yeah.
So you can imagine what that does to you. It makes you a bit naked, and I suppose that's why people don't like it, because, oh shit, it's like, I have to do this now.
Yeah, and one of the previous episodes, I forgot which one, we also spoke about that your norm or your median, or how do you say that, your zero level, your zero level goes up, right? If you're around people, and in this case your friend who bought 25 assets in a year, you think, okay, so that could be my baseline, that could be where I start.
Yeah.
While looking at it prior to that, you might look up to that and say, well, I'll never get there, right? So it's with all these things, I think, that we're doing. It's good to surround yourself with people whose baseline is a lot higher than yours. So you can think, okay, for them, this is normal. For them, this is everyday practice. And you can really pull yourself up to these guys, I think. And I love having these people in my life. They're really, really inspirational usually.
Yeah, and those people in your life, Erik, it's important that they impact us subconsciously as well. We're not aware. I think this is really important for people to take on board listening, is that you can have these people in your life. You're not aware how much they impact you. And we absorb those kind of subtle conversations, actions, and we see things that they do, and we absorb all that without knowing it, really. And it works both ways, doesn't it? You could be surrounded by really, proactive people, and you become like them without knowing. And you can think the opposite is true as well. So I think it's really important to remember for people that we absorb these behaviors because we're like social sponges, right? Mm-hmm. So you might not be thinking that person affects you. So you've got to think about that. If somebody's in your life that's of a negative influence on you, that person is affecting you, whether you are conscious of it or not.
Yeah, and the important thing is you have a choice, right? These people are in your life, but you choose to have them in your life. So if they are not contributing to your happiness, so if they suck energy out of you, think twice about whether or not you really want them in your life. Same as in the previous episode, we spoke about social media. I mean, if the social media is an energy sucker and it's not giving you anything, or time consumer or time sucker, get it out of your life. And the same is with people. It sounds hard. Might be your best friends, or you might be people that you've known for years. But in life, we grow and we become different people in different phases of our lives. And we try to, it's always good then to surround yourself with people that are supportive of what we're trying to do at this moment. And if they don't fit into that picture and they do take your energy, well, then I would really think about it again and see whether you still want to hang out with them. And there's subtle ways to do this, right? You might just start spending less time with them, or not go into the invitations of going to the pub and have a beer.
Have you actually done that? I mean, not in that way, but have you actually cut somebody without obviously naming them, being fair to them?
Well,
Have you cut somebody out of your
was John Robb. No.
No, but have there been people? Because I'm just curious. I'm just curious about how you dealt with it.
I'm becoming very aware of it now, and
Right. Okay. So you're more sort of a gradual process, right? You're aware of it, and then maybe you're scaling back.
And now I'm definitely do that. I meet people, and after I have met them, I have sort of made the evaluation on whether or not this is somebody that I'm going to actively approach to meet again or not.
Yeah.
And it could be people that I know for a long time.
Yeah. But your point about the fact you grow and change, you become a different person is important because we hang on to people sometimes from our past who are not good for us, right?
Yeah, and there's also another factor, and that is that if in like a meetup or a conversation, I feel that I'm the contributor, so that I'm helping them or giving them advice, or I'm like the adult and they're the child, that's a good sign for me to say, look, I shouldn't be meeting these people anymore.
Right.
To be honest, it doesn't happen that often, to be honest. But I am very conscious now. So for everybody that's going to meet me now after today, which is today, 20-something of October, 2017, be aware, I'm going to check you out.
Right. But I don't think it's a bad thing, right? I mean, you're very guarded of your time, and that comes back to what we're trying to achieve here. I mean, I've practiced this. We talked about social media in the last podcast. I practiced this on social media as well, and it's difficult to unfollow people because you don't want the drama.
Yes.
All that nonsense, all that bullshit. But I would ask myself, is this person making me unhappy?
Yeah.
Right? And looking at their life. And that could be, for example, if, like we talked about, if they were flying in a private jet, and you'll find out what exactly that means in the last podcast. Mm-hmm. But if they were flying in a private jet, and I was looking at that and thinking, shit, why am I in a private jet? Mm-hmm. If that was making me unhappy, I'd just unfollow them.
Yeah. I
think you've got to do that, right? What's the point? If this is making you unhappy, why then in your life?
Yeah. Be aware about where you spend your time. Time is the only non-renewable resource you have. So make sure you spend it wisely. We'll catch you guys in the next episode with the next topic. See you soon.